Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you can't tell, we are not at my apartment today. We are in Newport News, Virginia. We're in Newport News, Virginia for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. I'm so thankful for you guys for watching my channel and just hearing me ramble. Today we have a special guest, my best friend, Dominique.
Hey.
She is here because we just gonna talk about a lot of stuff. We're gonna get into her story, but we're also gonna talk about what it's like to have Christian friends in your inner circle. So just stay tuned and we'll be right back. So me and Dominique actually met in middle school in 6th grade. Mr. Holden's class, if you're watching this, you brought us together in math class.
Really did. Yep.
So we met in 6th grade, and you are my longest friend. I don't have any other friends
I
that.
think it's been like 10
Yeah,
or 11 years
10 or
now.
11 years now, yeah. So we've been friends for a long time. So we know I've seen her at her worst, at her best. She's seen me at my worst, at my best, like,
Yeah.
been through and through everything. Because, you know, middle school, you be looking raggedy and
Whew.
insert middle school picture here because I got it.
I know.
But
Oh my
we was looking rough, but we still had each other's backs, and that's all that matters. Okay, Dominique,
God. Yes.
when did you accept God into your life? What was that like? Even though I know, but they don't know.
It's a long process. So, long story short, I basically accepted God in my life around January 2018. Around that time, I had just got out of a very bad relationship. So I was very depressed for about 2 months. And starting the new year, I found Michael Todd, Transformation Church. And I
Shout out to you.
Yes. And I listened to Relationship Goals. And then ever since then, my faith and everything has just been growing since then. So ever since then, there's been challenges, and God has come through and says, boom, I'm here.
Yes.
Just listen to me. And I'm just like, okay. So sometimes, like, you fall off a little bit, but every time like a big challenge happens in my life or anything, I just know that I have God behind me because he's like
Amen.
shown up so
Yes.
much in my life since,
I feel that. That's real good. So through all that, what have you learned through your journey? Like this past year, you said that you've been going through battles and challenges, but God's been always there. But like, what else have you learned from having God at the forefront?
I've learned that I'm not the best at following God's path. I am very hard-headed. I am very hard-headed, and it takes a lot for me to grasp into his word. Like, it has to be an everyday thing for me, and I have to have, like, that self-discipline that you were talking about.
Yes,
Because
she watches my show.
Yes, I do. But I really have to have that self-discipline to keep up with it, because sometimes I'll find myself doing great, and sometimes that's when you tend to forget about God. Like, life is great, everything's good, but then certain times where things go bad, you're like, I haven't been listening to God's word, and I probably would have been ready for this situation if I would have just kept on it. But yeah, that's the biggest thing, just learning how to stay on that path. Because every once in a while I find myself, like jumping off. So
I know that you've been having a difficult time finding a church home. So what's been so difficult about that?
a lot of things. So what's most difficult for me is, one, finding a place where I don't feel judged. And two, I also know that deep down inside of me, still trying to fix that, I am very judgmental myself.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, I am very judgmental, and it's to the point where, like, because I found my faith and everything through Transformation Church, you kind of want to hold on to it tight.
Right.
And everything else you look at, I'm like, but it's not Transformation Church. And I have to, I have to separate that too. That's one of the hardest things, trying to separate it and like find your own.
Yeah.
Because he even said it himself, you know, you have to find your own home church. And like, it's just that comparison, that judgment from myself or maybe from others that I'm scared of. It's more so fear of trying to find a home church, because I don't want to compare the two.
That's good.
But if I move to Tulsa, then
you are not moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
They are such a great church, but I have faith that I'm gonna find one here.
I think you are too.
Yeah,
I think you are too. So I have my own friend group. I have a whole friend group with just Christian women, and everyone needs that companionship. Everyone needs that fellowship, because you need to know that you're not the only person that's on this walk. So I definitely encourage you, just like we were talking about getting a church home, it's the same idea of just being in a relationship with the like-minded people. Like, you need people that know who God is, know who Jesus is, and know that he is the head of their household. They know that he is the one that is guiding their steps. Like, you just need those people with you. So I kind of just want to dive into it, really. So what's difficult about finding Christian friendships for you? Like, especially since all of us are like gone, basically.
It's more so of like having somebody around your age and somebody that you can relate to, because yes, we have wisdom from our elder and all that stuff like that, but sometimes you want somebody who can relate to you, go through the same mistakes as you, and more so at the end be like, oh yeah, maybe I should have did this or did that, rather than have somebody tell you, well, don't do this and don't do that and this and that. So it's more so humbling to have somebody that can go through that with you. You know, having somebody that you can relate to. And I think definitely being out of high school, out of college, it's also very hard as well.
Very true.
Because where I work with people who are much older than me, all the way to probably about 15, 20 years. So at this point, it's very hard for me to find friends. You know, like when you go out to the club, or you go out to the bar, something like that. But very rarely will you find somebody in there that has the same beliefs as you, you know? So you have to find those certain places, whether it's at a home church or any type of volunteering or something like that, trying to find that friend. And when you have that limited space, it's kind of hard to do that.
I definitely agree with that. And another thing is, like, our hometown, everyone pretty much knows everybody. We live in a very small town, and so with Dominique still being here and us, all of my friends basically moved away. We still have one friend, Aaliyah. Shout out to you, Aaliyah.
Hey girl.
Shout out to you. But Aaliyah's still here, but Aaliyah works like all the time. So and she's a teacher. Woman. Yeah, she's a teacher, so she's out here grinding basically. Right. So it's very hard to find Christian friendships. Okay, so we talked about the Christian friends, but what about the non-Christian friends? How do you navigate being Christian in your friend group? Like, the friend groups that are not, like, I have friends that believe in God. Like, they believe in God, but that's about it. That's about it.
You basically experience them before they get to their testimony.
Yep.
You know, they believe in God, they go to church, but they don't necessarily get their purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it is very hard. It's very challenging. I find myself being very judgmental sometimes, because they'll do certain things. You know, like when you have that bad negativity around you, you kind of want to shut it out. But then again, they're one of your closest friends. Right. So like you'll try to be like, hey, you know, I really don't want this negativity around me. And they just don't get it. They're like, I'm not being negative. And I'm like,
but it's their spirit. And that's definitely something to touch on. Is I personally, I don't think it's a bad thing to have non-Christian friends. I actually think it's a good thing, because you can be that light in your friend group.
Exactly.
Like, you can be the light, but the thing is, you got to protect your spirit. And that's what we were talking about. You got to stay in your word. You got to pray. You got to pray for those friends, because otherwise your spirit is going to be attacked every single time y'all hang out. So you really have to protect your spirit, pray over them, and don't be judgmental. Just like we were saying, nobody wants to be around you if you sitting there judging them, like, oh, you're drinking, like, oh, like, let them be them. Let them do them. Sooner or later, once they see that you are changing and that you are having a positive energy about you, they're gonna be like, what's gotten into Dominique? Like she's real happy. Like she real cheerful. Like what's going on? And they'll
changed.
Yeah, she changed. like she changed. And the friends that are supposed to be in your life and the friends that you are meant to be with are gonna stay around, and God's gonna keep them in your life.
Right.
So you need to just hold your horses. Don't judge them, but also just be that light. Don't transform back into that old you. Like you don't want them to be like, oh, Kira's a Christian, but she be doing the same old. Like I don't like. I'm still working on that. I feel like a lot of people don't recognize that you are still a work in progress. So you're gonna do stuff, and you're like, dang, I really shouldn't be doing this. Like, but you are a work in progress, and you gotta let your friends know that too. That I'm a work in progress. Like I'm still working, and we all still working. Like,
yes,
ain't nobody perfect around here.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So we're gonna move past the friends. We're gonna get into the love and the relationships and all that. So how's that working out for you? Let's just jump right in. I mean,
it's challenging. It's very, very challenging because ever since we were young, like 12, 15.
Let me tell you.
We have had certain things that we have liked about guys. We've said, we want this, we want that.
We had a whole list.
Yes, a whole list. And of course it's evolved now, but at the same time, sometimes I still want certain qualities. It doesn't really connect with what I also want in a guy as far as Christ and God and all that stuff. The things I want clash. Yeah. You know? Sometimes, like, I'll say, like, I want this guy to be this tall, does this, does that, but all these things that I want him to do, it kind of clashes with what I need.
What God wants for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, like, I noticed, like, in all the past relationships that I've had, certain things just, like, shoot red flags. And it was, like, those certain things that I liked, but now I'm just, like... Okay.
Yeah.
So how do I?
You're in a different headspace now.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in a different headspace, and it's a lot harder now that the reason why I found God was because of the bad relationship that I was in. Now I am very guarded. Yeah. I'm very, very guarded because as far as being single in my life, since I started dating, which was probably like, maybe like 11 or 12, which is so bad to hear.
It was me. If you can say it.
It's so bad to hear, like 12, but I should have just been doing my homework.
Yeah.
Like, at 11 and 12, like why was I dating?
Bruh.
What was wrong
so
with me?
We would. Like, I would set her up with like these random people, especially I'll be like, he's so cute. You gotta date him. Little old me, I don't know what I was thinking. She needs to go to math class and Mr. Holden's class and do her work.
For real. Mr. Holden had a whole conversation with me one time too, talking about how I needed to not focus on boys. True
Sounds like our math teacher. I really hope I find his like Facebook or something so I can send him this. But anyways, yes. So I would literally set her up with all these people and all this stuff and like, oh, he's cute and blah, blah, blah. Like, it started very young. Yeah. But I feel like that also helped us because now we're here and it's like, okay, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna rush into anything. Like, and like you said, God wants something specific for you. God has already made your husband. Like, he is somewhere out there living his best life, just waiting for you. And I feel like that's what is so comforting, is knowing that like God's got this. God's gonna make it work in your favor. You're gonna be at the right place at the right time when you meet your husband. Right. Like, I think that, and we're at an age where we got people getting married, people having babies, and we just sitting here like, hold on. Hold on. I just got my job. Right. I just got my bills. Like, right. So I think it's definitely important to remember that, like, yes, God is he knows what we like. And I think that he knows what we like. He knows what's on our heart, but he also knows what he needs for us to have.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing too, because I'll be trying to figure out with him.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, so I know this isn't good for me.
Right.
So, and then the next guy that comes up to me, I'll look and I'll be like, no, I don't really see anything, but God, is it something?
Is there something here?
Am I missing something?
Yep.
Like, why is this presented to me right now?
Right.
What's going on?
Do you believe in love at first sight?
No.
I feel like you have. I don't know. I think you have to like learn it. Like you have to learn.
I feel like it's a one-time experience type thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say that I don't believe in it, maybe I haven't experienced it
Yeah.
yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything other than the last relationship that I had, you know, it was kind of just young things in the back of the past or whatever. But now, my last relationship, I always say that I never, you know, when you look back at a relationship and you be like, oh, that's not love. Like, what was I doing?
What was I thinking?
Right.
Yep.
And now, going through this process, I've made it to the point where I don't deny myself from that love. So like
good.
that last relationship I was in, I experienced love. Now I felt love. I don't know if I was receiving it back.
Ooh,
that's the biggest thing. So
that's good though.
you know, my mom, she always like, you don't know what love is, and I'm like, I know what love is. I just haven't received it yet. So I'll never deny myself of that. But you know, it's something that I have to see, like love at first sight type thing. You know,
it's very hard, and I feel like something to note is like young love is beautiful, but it's also very hard because you're still learning yourself. Exactly. Like you're trying to love this person and love all their flaws, and you still trying to figure out how to love your own flaws. Like God's still trying to work on you, and that's definitely important to remember. It's even in the Bible, it says that He's trying to build us up individually.
Right.
Like you don't become one until you're married. So you sitting here trying to date and date when you're 20, 22, 23 years old, and God's still working on you. Like He's still trying to work on you, and you're trying to love this person and all their flaws, and it's like, well, dang, like it's hard. It's hard out here.
And another thing too that I realized, I felt like I was very unforgiving when it came to my last relationship. And not to put any names out there, but I did get an apology. And after that, you know, I settled it and I was like, okay, I forgive you. But certain times I'll just think about certain stuff and then I'd be like, I don't forgive him.
Yes.
But really what I just realized this last week, is that I'm not more so mad at him, I'm mad at God. And that's the scariest thing for me, because you know, I still, you know, read my word and I still like, you know, read all my scriptures and all that, but I'm disappointed. Because
like, why did that happen? Like, why did I have to go through that?
Right, exactly. Like, why do they get to have this and then I am left out, you know? Type thing. And it's not more so that you're mad at the person anymore. You're mad at God that things didn't go your way, or that somebody received a blessing before you did.
Wow.
So
dang.
Yeah, and I was like, am I really mad at God? Because, you know, like, I love God and all this stuff, but at the same time, I was like, I'm not mad at the person anymore. I was like, I forgave the person. And I was like, why is this so hard for me to get over? And I'm like, I'm disappointed. So that's another thing too, trying to basically trust God into what He's doing. He's like, okay, they got that, but I have something bigger for you.
Wow. So, that's good. Because if you think about it, like Tony's my boyfriend, y'all. I didn't mention that. But Tony's mother talked about this, and she did her initial sermon. Shout out to you, Miss Tina. Shout out to you. She did her initial sermon last weekend, and she talked about how you're supposed to count it all joy. Like, count everything that happens. And if you think about it, if it wasn't for that relationship, you would not have gotten close to God.
That is very true.
You would not have been here sitting down talking about God with me. Like, it just wouldn't have happened, because that's not where your mindset was. You was all wrapped up in your relationship, all wrapped up in all this stuff. And then God was like, okay, boop, there you go. Now what? Like, who do you have now? And you have Him.
Right.
And I think it's so interesting and amazing, and it's something that I personally as a human will never wrap my mind around how God works. Like, it's just, he works differently every single time, but he always comes through.
Right.
And I think that's something that's amazing about your story, is that you went through this horrible breakup, and just everything was just basically not going your way, and then boom, you found your relationship with God, and then it was just like blessing after blessing after blessing. It was like amazing. It was amazing to watch her just grow and change. Like, if you were on the outside, you were like, whoa, like, she's changing, she's a different person. And you still have your days. I still have my days. We all still have our days where you're like, dang, like, God, what we doing? Like, what are we doing? But that's the one thing that I know about my God, is that he always comes through. Right. Always.
Exactly.
Always. Well, guys, that is it. Thank you, Dom, for coming.
Welcome,
Thanks for coming on the show with me. She is my first guest, y'all.
I know.
Yay.
And I am truly, truly honored.
I appreciate you. I love you, girl.
Sure.
Thank you guys for tuning in again. Please follow us on all social media platforms at Kingdom Crowns, and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get notified whenever we upload another video. And have a happy Thanksgiving. And even though when this is uploaded, it's not going to be Thanksgiving anymore. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a happy holidays. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.